And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I'm always a little wary of expansions to cooperative games because a cooperative game is a lot of fun. It's like a puzzle, and I love expansions, but you don't want to make the cooperative game become too complex or draw away from what made the game so much fun in the first place. Now, I've already done a review on Ghost Stories. You can go check out that. Ghost Stories is one of my favorite cooperative games. Absolutely fun as you sit in the middle of the village and battle off wave and waves of ghosts. Well, here we have a new expansion for the game, and I've gotten rid of the box, mostly because it's easy to fit everything into the original box, but it's the White Moon. Now, this adds several functions to the game, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about these functions and how they affect the base game, and then tell you what I think. The main feature that this game adds is villagers. And you see here's a card that shows each villager. Now let's focus up a little bit on one of these villagers. For example, here's the Mao family, or as we call them, the Meow family. But each family has a number in the corner, and you can see 2 here, and that shows how many members of that family are in the game. They either have 1, 2, or 3 members. And then it shows you that if you rescue this family, a reward you'll get, and something bad will happen every time one of these villagers are killed. And so there's all different sorts of villagers. Each villager has a positive value if you save them, and they have a negative value if they die. And it's really interesting because some of the positive values are really great, and some of the negative values are horrible. Some of them remove a token from the game forever. Like, for example, when the Meow dies, you lose a black token from the game forever, which doesn't seem to be a huge deal, but can be. But other ones, like the Wu family, oh, terribleness. The Wu family, when one of them dies, it brings in a new red ghost. Yeesh! When we found that out, we rescued the Wus plenty quickly. At the beginning of the game, the villagers are randomly placed. 3 villagers in each spot, with one of the villagers placed face up. That's the villager who you're going to deal with first on each of these spots. Then, somewhere on the board, and it's really up to you where you want to put it, although they mention if you want to do decently at all, you put in this portal at the beginning. That is where you're going to be sending the villagers. And so wherever the portal is, you don't have villagers, but you're basically trying to get the villagers to go through this portal. So now, as an action, if someone is in the middle of this board, and there's a villager who happens to be there, maybe they moved from another spot, they can use an action to send that villager through the portal. And every time you send a villager through the portal, you find that board I showed you originally and put the villager on it to show that you saved him. At the same time, if a villager dies for any reason before they are sent through the portal, then you get to go to this terrible board and put the villager here, showing that they've died. The negative effect happens. But if you have 12 villager dies, well, guess what? You've lost. 10 new ghosts are introduced into this expansion with this special Devourer skill on them. And these are ghosts that when it's your turn and you have one of these ghosts in front of you, they will eat a villager that is directly in front of them. One of the villagers, the first one. And so these guys are really dangerous. They come up and you need to get rid of them or they're going to start eating these villagers, causing negative effects to you. Also, the haunting ghosts will cause a lot of problems to you because when they haunt a tile, first they'll chase a villager off it, which could be good because they might chase a villager to where you want them to go. You can also move villagers yourself. They can travel with the player. But sometimes you can use haunting ghosts to chase a villager to the portal itself so you don't have to waste time moving them there. But if they happen to haunt a tile with villagers still on it, then every villager on that tile is dead. So both of these pose a great risk for the villagers. Not everything is bad, of course. They add some of these neat artifacts that you can get when you rescue some of the families. For example, when you rescue one of the families, you'll get these claws of revenge. There's even a little symbol in the back to show you. This basically says if you don't banish a ghost and you were trying to banish that ghost, then you get a color token of that ghost. So you get to hit it easier. Or this sword, which is a great one, you can place a die on the table as any color you want before you roll the other dice. Now these tokens can really help effectively you to win the game. But with more ghosts, evil Devourer ghosts in the midst, you're going to need every advantage that you can get. Another one of these advantages that you can get are at the corner of each board, there's 4 of these placed here, are these little altars. And some of the ghosts can give you, and there's other various ways to get these little crystals. They're clear little stones, and these stones are great by themselves because you can use them as a wild token to help banish the ghosts as you get them. And you get these tokens often through various means. However, if you want to, during the course of the game, you can different ways to place these in the altar. If you place these in all four corners, you basically have a free chance to either get more tokens or to banish ghosts, which is a really powerful ability and can really save you when things get really tough. But all this really pales besides one of the biggest additions to the game, and that's Su Ling. Now, Su Ling here is a little white statue, and she gets to be moved around whenever something bad happens. Let's say you roll a curse die, or a villager gets killed, or there's a few other ways, and she will show up, and you can move her to a different spot. And what she will do is she will protect you from the ghost on that spot, from whatever negative thing. So let's say, for example, she's here standing in front of the Lich. Let's move down so you can see the Lich. The Lich normally forces you to roll a curse die. Well, she will block that curse die from happening. Also, those annoying haunting ghosts, she'll stop you from doing those. So she's there to help you. Finally, there's a new tile in the game, which, when you stand on it, you can attack all the ghosts of your color at the same time, or you can attack all the black ghosts on the board. It's a very nice addition, and it adds some fun to the game, I think. Just more variety now. You have 10 different tiles to pick from, instead of just using the 9 that came with the game. There's a lot of stuff that comes with this game, a lot of these nice pieces and tiles, and just a lot going on, but it really isn't that difficult. So, I love this expansion. It's possibly my favorite expansion ever for a cooperative game. It just adds so much fun to the game. You really have to keep sight of rescuing these villagers, but not forget about actually saving the village. Get so caught up in rescuing the villagers you don't do anything else. But the villagers with their negative effects and rewards really add some balance to the game, in a sense, where you're trying to get these great artifacts, but at the same time you're trying to, the negative effects of villagers dying really gets to you. Having Lu Wing around on the board, moving her to points and just stopping certain ghosts, it just adds more tension to an already great game, and there's a fantastic level of fun now that's in the game. It adds more evil final ghosts that you can fight against. Definitely, if you like ghost stories, this is a must-buy expansion.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.